Hello, beautiful people. We are back with the Sports Ball Talk Show. A lot to get into today. I'm just going to jump into it. Joined by Frank and Gian, of course, as last week. I'm going to dog on Frank. That's how we're opening this thing up. Let me run you. Let me take you guys on a little journey. So, fantasy football. I was playing against Frank this week, and what happened was kind of crazy. So, we go into the Sunday and Monday night games roughly tied, and I have Isaiah Pacheco and Jimmy G left to play, and he's got Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce alone. And I'm like, you know what? Kelsey's a dog, but I'm going to win because I have a quarterback and a running back left, and we're tied. Travis Kelce drops 35 points. Isaiah Pacheco drops 10 points. So I'm like, all right, well, screw me. I mean, Jimmy G ain't dropping 25. Then Jimmy G drops 25 on Monday. He threw for 4 tuds, about 225 yards, and I won by less than a point. So Frank is a bum. Jimmy G, I love you. You are a beautiful, handsome man. So I got a picture of Jimmy G up here because I love him. And I mean, just my favorite quarterback in the NFL right now. So go and tell me what your thoughts are, Frank. I want to hear it from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are on getting dogged.
Funny story. I was telling a friend, I was like, yeah, as long as Jimmy G doesn't score more than 25 points, I will be fine. I will be set. I will win for the first time in 3 weeks against Ethan, who has the second worst team in the league right now. And unfortunately, was proven wrong. I think, I think he heard me, and he was.
Yeah, Jimmy G was angry.
Trying to help out.
Just two more quick things on that. I'm gonna run you through the amount of points he scored each week until this week, just so you know how it's so crazy. He got 25. So he scored 16, then 8, then 13, then 18, then 17, then 16, then 17, then 16, and then 25 and a half. So Jimmy G had a game. Also, only reason I started Jimmy G, for those of you questioning me, is because Tua is my starter and he was on his bye. Also, the reason I have the worst team in fantasy is because I drafted Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Swift, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams, Michael Thomas, and a couple others that all got hurt. Every one of my starting players got hurt. So now I'm stuck with these people, but I beat Frank and I'm still in this thing. So that's fantasy though. Jimmy G, I love you.
All that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah. All right. So while
you really shouldn't be thanking Jimmy G though. You got all those weapons to thank for him because that's what made that easy. He had everyone. He had Brandon Ayuk. He had Debo. He had CMC. Kelsey finally played like he's supposed to play.
Well, that's what I wanted to get into. Is what do you guys feel about the Niners? I think that's my Super Bowl prediction from the NFC is Niners. I've been thinking that for weeks now, but I think they're loaded. Jimmy G is obviously a good quarterback. People like to dog on him. He's just a game manager. Yeah, he's not a Patrick Mahomes, but he gets the job done. No interceptions, no turnovers, no fumbles, or nothing. 4 touchdowns, 250 yards. And he's got people like Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, probably the best skills group in the NFL, and a genius in Kyle Shanahan, and a great defense. I think that they win the NFC pretty handsomely this year. But I don't know if you guys disagree. You're welcome to, if you'd like to. And then I'll tell you you're wrong.
Well, I think they'll win the NFC West. I don't think they'll win the NFC overall. I mean, you still got the Vikings to take care of. Cowboys are in contention. Cowboys have been riding hot. I mean,
yeah, you know what?
Cardinals. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, let's go ahead and jump into the Vikings Cowboys game because that's what we're gonna do next anyway. Man, yeah, you go ahead and tell everyone about this one, Gian. This one was disgusting.
All right, this was a filth fest for sure. I mean, the Vikings lost to the Cowboys, and it wasn't a close game at all. The spread had them within a point and a half. Nah, Cowboys just absolutely dogged on the Vikings. Completely unexpected. I don't know, considering last week the Vikings put the hurt on the Bills. Bills have arguably one of the best defenses in the league, and then now you see the Vikings just crumble underneath the Cowboys. Micah Parsons was an absolute dog. I think he got hurt later in the game, but regardless, Micah Parsons was just all hands on deck, all gears to full. That defense had Justin Jefferson on lock. Kirk Cousins is going to get the ball out of his hand. I believe they cut the game off from broadcast and switched it to the Bengals-Steelers game just because it was an absolute blowout. So, I mean, there's not really much to say there than just, like, what happened. I mean...
Yeah, 40
you would think
to
that
3.
A solid ground game and everything, but...
Yeah,
man.
well, I think it's actually good for the Vikings long term because after coming off that big win on the Bills, it's hard not to get cocky and arrogant that you're the best team. You just beat the Bills, who were the best team before you guys. So I think it's a little bit humbling for them. I think it puts that chip back on their shoulder that they need to really just get dirty and play and win. So I think for them, it's better going forward. They still are plenty good enough that they're going to guarantee themselves a playoff spot and probably first and second seed. So I don't think it really hurts them to have that on their record, and I think it sets up a good revenge game for maybe a Cowboys-Vikings NFC Championship game. And I think that it puts the Vikings in a position that they can't goof off anymore. They really got to just get their asses in gear and start playing, because not scoring a touchdown is insane for that offense with Adam Thielen, TJ Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins. You can't not score touchdowns. That's unbelievable.
Holding Jeff Ellerson to 33 yards and 3 receptions is the reason, actually, that I lost. He scored, I think, 4.4 fantasy points. So, yeah, I can blame my fantasy loss on Justin Jefferson. But, yeah, I think the Cowboys really in this game showed that they were legitimate. And I think that Dak Prescott, kind of took control after there were some questions kind of surrounding, is he the quarterback? Like, they did well with Cooper Rush. Like, why do we need Dak? And, of course, we know that Jerry Jones loves Dak and, wants him to start and won't give up that starting job easily. But I think that he really silenced a lot of the critics with that game. And I think the Cowboys really showed why they are legitimate. They also unfortunately hurt me in my fantasy. So.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think the Cowboys are serious. I didn't really take them seriously until now because every year the Cowboys do good, not great, and are a first round playoff out, just like last year. And every year for the last 50,000 million, billion, trillion years, the Cowboys suck. But I will give them some credit this year. They're doing well. They won games with a backup quarterback. That defense is unfreaking believable with Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, Trevon Diggs. They got a lot of studs out there. So, I mean, I think that they're one of those teams that has a good enough defense to win. But then they also got people like Dak Prescott. They got CeeDee Lamb. They got Ezekiel Elliott. They got Tony Pollard, who everyone knew Tony Pollard was the best backup in the NFL when it comes to running back. But he is a freaking monster, dude. How many touchdowns did he have? Didn't he have like 3 touchdowns, like 2 receiving touchdowns and a rushing touchdown or something like that?
Yeah, Tony Pollard had the hat trick, man, and he won me my week. So for those of you who don't know, I started off my fantasy league 0-5, 0-6. Tony Pollard has just helped me make that turnaround. The Cowboys offense overall has helped me make this turnaround. They're legit. They're legit. Tony Pollard, I think
he did not
score
score at all. Actually, he had 109 receiving yards and 80 rushing yards.
Yeah, he had touchdowns, dude. He had a receiving touchdown.
Yeah.
He had 2 of them.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, maybe he got 0 rushing touchdowns, but I know he had 2 receiving touchdowns.
No, he did have 2 receiving touchdowns. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, there you go.
But keep going, Jim. This is actually kind of a nice story because you and I flipped. Because the first week of fantasy, here's the thing. First week of fantasy, I dominated and I scored the most points out of anyone in the league. I was projected to finish first overall after week 2. Same thing, scored the most points, projected to finish number 1 overall, and then everyone gets hurt. And you were like 0-5, 0-6, and now you've won like every game since then. So you and I have completely flipped. So I don't like it.
It was looking grim, especially because I talked so much smack. I came to the season talking so much smack, thinking everyone else is just gonna fall under me. But now I'm making the best turnaround of my life. Honestly, best comeback. And we have 2-3 more weeks left before the playoffs. It's looking like I'm making the cut. That's what's up.
Yeah, we got 3 weeks left, and since I beat Frank, I'm now 5-6 because I won like 4 games in a row, and then I lost 6 games in a row, and then I've won 1. So I just need to win, I think, 2 of these next 3 games, and I'll be in the playoffs too. And hey, I'll be good. Even though everyone is a free waiver ad on my team, it is a stud free waiver. I got Jeff Wilson on that team. I got Tagovailoa on that team. I got a lot of studs, but not good enough. Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on. We're going to talk about the Giants versus the Lions because that was a disgusting game. That game made me angry because I like the Giants. They're not my team, but I like the Giants. They're one of my teams. I'm one of those guys that likes a lot of teams. Giants are one of them. I think that Daniel Jones, great quarterback. People like to shit on him. He hasn't thrown an interception in like 9 weeks up until yesterday, 83-2. One of them by Aiden Hutchinson, who is a lock for Defensive Rookie of the Year because he's just a monster. So you got him, you got Saquon Barkley, you got no receiving core, but you got a lockdown defense, and you got big old Brian Daboll at coach. Giants, I love them, but they got destroyed by the Lions. And this is a lot because the Lions, worst team in the league. Giants at one point, like, hey, maybe they're the best team in the league because they were like 8-1 at one point. You know, it's like these cats were really good. Some of the best in the league. They had like the second best record in the entire NFL behind the Eagles at one point. So to lose to the Lions is big. The Lions are now on a win streak, 3 wins in a row. Are the Lions going to snag an NFC wildcard playoff spot?
I don't think that. I think this is more a flash in the pan, but they are right now the proud owners of the longest win streak in the NFL. So those words could come back to bite me. We'll see. We'll see if I was right or not. But I think this is more of them playing well in the moment rather than something that's going to be long-term sustainable, because I just don't see them pulling off these types of wins against let's see who's on the rest of their schedule.
They got the Bills, the Jags, Vikings, Jets, Panthers, Bears, and Packers. Here's the thing. I don't know how many more wins they need, but they can't lose any more games. Maybe they could lose against the Bills.
Well, that's the thing. Is like the NFC is so weak this year. It feels like outside of the NFC East, that like they don't really need to win that many. It feels like they've beaten the Packers, the Bears, and the Giants. Which, I mean, whatever. But yeah, they'll probably lose to the Bills. But the Jaguars, winnable game. The Vikings is, I'm gonna say, a coin flip because it's a divisional game. The Vikings are struggling right now, and the Lions are hot. So I don't think they're going to win, but I mean, if the spread is good, I might pick the Lions. The Jets, winnable game because Zach Wilson's a bum, which we're going to get into next. Panthers, winnable game. Bears, winnable game. Packers, winnable game. So, I mean, they have to win them all, but it's possible. And I'm not a Lions fan, but I love MCDC Motor City Dan Campbell. You can't hate him. He's a fantastic man. Everyone loves MCDC. I would love for them to clinch one of them wildcard spots. I would be all for it. I'd love to see the Lions in the playoffs with Jared Goff, because I also like Jared Goff. I think the Rams did him dirty. I think Matt Stafford was definitely an upgrade for the Rams, and they didn't make a bad pick because they went and won a freaking Super Bowl. But I think Jared Goff got too much hate for that failure. He was injured during the second half of that season, 2 seasons ago, whenever they lost the playoffs. He had a broken thumb and was playing in a playoff game with it and still put up a good fight. Jared Goff brought him to a Super Bowl, 2 years prior to that. So I think it's a lot of hate. If he can go get the playoffs with the Lions, I mean, I think that shows that he still deserves a starting job. Shows that Motor City Dan Campbell knows what he's doing. Because I like MCDC. I don't want him to lose his job, but at some point, if you lose enough, even if everyone loves you, you gotta step down. So I think the Lions need to go on a tear here and at least be in the wild card conversation. I hope they make a spot, but I hope they're at least in the conversation if not.
Yeah, I just don't see them doing too hot against the Bills, especially with Jeff Okudah down right now. They don't have anyone who can lock down Diggs, and the passing game with the Bills is too good to not have your top cornerback. So I don't see them winning that. I don't see them winning against the Vikings either.
Yeah, so let's say let's say they lose both of those and they win everything else. They're 9-8. Let's say they do manage to beat one of those two. They're 10-7. I think 9-8 is probably good enough to go in the NFC this year.
Here's the thing. If the Lions play against the Vikings and the Bills smart, just chunk yardage, strong runs with Jamal Swift and Justin Jackson for chunk yardage, run down the clock, give them just all offense, and then have them and then use the defense to stall out as much time as possible, because they have a solid offense. Unfortunately, their defense isn't as good. But if they're able to pull that off and shave down the clock and just go all ham, I think they have a chance at beating the other teams. Now, I'm not saying it's a higher probability or anything, but they can pull it off. Yeah. It is possible.
If the spread is thick, I'm picking the Lions on that one, because like you said, if they can get their offense going and then control the game from a time perspective, they can win that thing, because the Bills are going to score, but if the Lions can score and control the clock, then that's all they need. Because like you said, they can run the ball a lot, keep the ball inbounds to run it out. They can do all these things. If they can get that going and do it successfully, they have a chance. Once again, I would bet my bank account that they lose for those games, but it's not impossible. I mean, I've seen crazier things happen, so it is possible. But we're gonna go and move on to the Jets, Patriots, because we mentioned that a minute ago, and I wanna talk shit about Zach Wilson. So we're gonna go and move to that. If I'll let you go, you take shots first, John. You go first. I'll let you get your licks in.
All right, Zach Wilson, BYU. He's an absolute bum. Okay, like who? 77 yards total for the whole game. You were a first-round pick, and I get it. Patriots defense. Kudos to you guys. You guys are great. But 77 yards in a game. 24 of those came in the second half of the game. Are you kidding me? There's no I just think there was no chemistry between him, his receivers, the O-line, just everything. Everything was just bad overall. Zach, what are you doing? Like, you were injured. They gave your so they replaced you for the meantime. Now you're back. You're supposed to be the guy. Yeah, no, not so much anymore. Like, well, what's going on, buddy? I mean, I can only say so much from the seat, but man.
I mean, yeah, that's
an absolute bomb.
Whenever he got drafted, I thought he was going to be one of those guys. I said the same thing about Mac Jones. Like, I think these two guys are getting slept on. I think they're going to do well. Honestly, outside of this game, Zach Wilson's done pretty well. I mean, it wasn't him that got the Jets to their record right now because Joe Flacco played for a little bit. But he's played good up until this game, like good enough to get him wins. It was a horrible game, obviously, and screw you, Zach Wilson, for playing that bad. I'm not a Jets fan, but still screw you for all the Jets fans. I know there's a kid out there up in New York, and he says that every time the Jets win, his dad buys him ice cream. So Zach Wilson, you just cost that kid an ice cream because you could not score one touchdown. That's all you needed. The freaking Patriots scored a field goal and then a punt return touchdown and with like 20 seconds left in the game. So all you needed was to throw one touchdown, and this little kid was going to get some ice cream, and you took that away from him, Zach Wilson. So I'm mad at you. But I still think you're going to be fine as a QB. Just like I said, Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a good QB. Just got played against each other. Props to both of you. You're NFL starting quarterbacks. You're better at football than I will ever be and have ever been. But it's unacceptable, Zach Wilson. The Jets have been good this year. I know they lost Breece Hall, who was a massive piece of that offense, but they've still been good. They still won games without him. So you need to keep that going because, once again, not a Jets fan, but it's another one of those Lions-type teams that they're always so bad that you feel bad for them. Maybe not you, Gian, because you're a Dolphins fan and that's a division rival, but if you looked at it outside from a Dolphins perspective, like let's say you're a guy who doesn't have a favorite team, you look at the Jets and the Lions and stuff like that, and you're like, you know what? I want them to do good because I feel bad for them. That's how I feel about the Jets, and they've been doing good this season. They, I think at one point they were the number one in the AFC East, or maybe they were number two right behind the Dolphins because the Bills started sucking. But before this weekend, they had every single spot in the AFC wildcard was AFC East, and Zach Wilson, you're losing that. And I don't like it. I know you like hooking up with moms, but take some time off. Take some time away from that. Let's put the moms aside for a minute and play some football because we need you back, Zach Wilson. I want my friend Jets fans to be happy and to get ice cream. So that's all I got. Frank, you it's your turn. Go and say your piece,
Joe.
Yeah, man, I don't even know where I start. My team is primarily I got Tyler Conklin, who I didn't play, fortunately, but I also have Michael Carter and Garrett Wilson, who I was counting on giving me a little bit more than 2.2 points this week in fantasy, but apparently that's a little bit too much to ask when you have the absolute bomb of a player that is Zach Wilson for your quarterback. I think a lot of people are questioning, is he going to be the quarterback going forward? I would like to say to Robert Saleh, if you're watching this, which I know he probably is, but if you could start Joe Flacco or another quarterback over Zach Wilson so that I can make my fantasy playoffs, please do that.
Yeah, you know what?
That's about all.
I just remembered that I only beat you by like a half point and that you had some Jets players. So, I take back what I said, Zach Wilson. Thank you for doing horrible because had you done well, I would have lost this week. And I don't like losing. So, thank you, Zach Wilson, for being a bum. Don't do it again because now I'm not playing against you. But thank you for doing it this 1 week. All right, we've taken our licks at Zach Wilson. Let's move on to Green Bay because, man, Green Bay needs to be talked about. Last week we sat on this show and we said, is Green Bay back? I'm going to answer that question. Fuck no. Green Bay is not back. Green Bay got their ass handed to them by the Titans. And listen, whenever I said last week, we all agreed that the Green Bay -3, that's what we all picked it. But we also thought that was because Malik Willis is going to be playing, not Ryan Tannehill. So we didn't say that because we thought Green Bay was back. We thought that because we saw the Titans are injured. But I had a little hope because although I don't like Green Bay, because if I got to pick an NFC North team, it's the Vikings or the Lions because, like, good for them. I hate the Bears too and the Packers, whatever. But I thought they might be back because you got Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back undisputed world heavyweight champion, MVP of the world, Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back, two-time, give the whole roster. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a bum. He lost that game for the team. I watched that game. Gian was here. Me and Gian sat in my living room, and we watched this game. Aaron Rodgers lost that game for them. This is not the fault of Matt LaFleur or Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon or Alan Lazard or Christian Watson, who, by the way, had a couple great catches. He dropped one big one. He's back to Kristen Dropson because he dropped a big catch. But Aaron Rodgers made a lot of bad plays. He threw a lot of balls away. He did not have good pocket awareness. He was horrible. And Gian, I love your notes on this thing as well because you and I were talking about this as it happened. We were both angry about it.
Not only was I angry, I was quite bored, to say the least. And the game is bad when you have Derrick Henry throwing touchdowns and Aaron Rodgers is getting sacked left and right, can't throw a tutty, can't even throw chunk yard passes. Yeah, you have players that are wide open, and Aaron's just deciding he can't trust them. I take back everything I said last week. He doesn't trust his team. There's no chemistry there for whatever reason. Titans look like an absolute unit. I mean, man by man, you would think the Green Bay's roster should just tear apart the Titans. No. Titans, man by man, don't have as star-studded of a roster, but they came to town. They did their business. They mopped the floor with Green Bay, man. Green Bay's not back. I don't think they're going to be back anytime soon. Christian Dropson is back, so there is that. So, the game was such a slugfest. It was just so slow, and then Aaron Rodgers just watching him play.
It was
not only made me angry.
Yeah, it made me angry. I was angry watching that.
Me. Mm-hmm. I was disappointed.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Listen.
You are not the MVP we knew you were to be.
No, you're a bum, Aaron Rodgers. And here's the thing. As a person, I like you, Aaron Rodgers. All right, you read. You're a very intelligent person. You read a lot. You have your little book club thing. That's cool. I like people who educate themselves, read. That's good. That's good brain power stuff. You were on Jeopardy. I liked you on Jeopardy. But you suck at football, Aaron Rodgers. You're not a good football player anymore. You don't deserve a Hall of Fame spot. You don't deserve the MVPs you have. You don't deserve the Super Bowl ring you have. Listen, it is at the point in the season where they're done. Even if they won every game for the rest of the season, which they're not going to, I guess they'd make the playoffs, but they're not going to do that. So they're done. The Packers are done for this season. And I think it is ridiculous because we're all big fans, I think, of the Pat McAfee show, and there's a little segment they have. It's called Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers comes on for a little bit, and they talk about, like, oh, what happened this past weekend? And I feel bad for Pat and the boys because they always going to be like, well, why'd you freaking lose last week? Because that's a lot harder of a conversation than, hey, good job dogging the Bears like you always do. It's, why did you lose this time? Because now you've lost 7 or 8 games, and why'd you lose these 8? And it's always, there's a lot of little mental mistakes and stuff like that. It's like, dude, enough mental mistakes. This is 11 weeks of NFL. If you are still making mental mistakes like that at week 11, you should not be playing. I understand the NFL's a big league. Everyone there, even the worst player in the NFL is better than me at any position that I'll ever be in. So I don't want to talk like I would be better. But by week 11, you're getting paid a lot of freaking money to go play a game and play a game well that you've been playing for over a decade at this point. You've won 3 MVPs and you've won a Super Bowl and all these different things. You should not be making mental mistakes at this point in the season. There's no excuse for it. I don't care if you lost Devontae Adams. That sucks. That you should be making mental mistakes because of that. Have better pocket presence. Throw better balls. Trust your receivers a little bit more. I understand they drop balls sometimes, but they're not dropping a ball every time you throw it. They're on balls sometimes, and that sucks. But if you threw good balls every time, they could drop one every down or one every set of downs, and you would still get the first down and still score 3 more touchdowns a game than you are now. Or throw a couple slant routes to Aaron Jones or something that you do trust, that you've been playing with for a while. Anything. Alan Lazard you've been playing with for a couple years now. Throw the ball better. There's a lot of issues with you, Aaron Rodgers. And once again, I respect you. You are... I know I said no Hall of Fame, but let's be honest, you're a Hall of Famer, all right? Everyone knows it. You deserve the MVPs you had because you played good. But you're not playing good now, and I don't like it. You need to play better, Aaron Rodgers. I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah. I think we've been talking about stars. Aaron Rodgers like a starfish last night. He was absolutely garbage. Or not last night, sorry, on Thursday night. I mean, I think that, Ethan, that might be a little bit of an overreaction because he has been playing well and it has been on, his receivers and stuff in the past few weeks. But yeah, unless he can prove me otherwise, I will continue to say that he's fallen from stardom into starfishdom because that was just not it. So,
Well, here's the thing, and I love to make this comparison because, like I said earlier, I think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. And everyone dogs on him. Aaron Rodgers is throwing more interceptions than Daniel Jones. Who would name some good receivers on the Giants? You can't. Name some good receivers on the Packers. Probably can't either. Maybe Christian Watson, maybe Alan Lazard, maybe Slayton for the Giants. But they're about equal on offensive or on wide receiver cores. Aaron Rodgers has 19 touchdowns to 7 picks and 2,500 yards. And Daniel Jones, who by the way is winning games and has some mobile upside, has 1,900 yards, 9 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. He has 3 less interceptions than Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is the king of not throwing interceptions. Now, of course, Daniel Jones, they have a very run-heavy offense. He has less pass yards, less pass touchdowns. I understand that because they run the ball first, and it works. But they're winning games, and Daniel Jones is not throwing 7 interceptions like Aaron Rodgers. And like I said, Aaron Rodgers, if you look at like all-time stats for quarterbacks, look at all the greats, Tom Brady, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. He throws less interceptions than all of them. He is the king of not throwing interceptions, and he's throwing 7. So he's still throwing bad passes, and he's still throwing incomplete balls that should be complete. And I understand it's not all his fault, but he still is a piece of that reason that they're not winning. He's a very mediocre quarterback this season. Ignore everything that he's done. You look at his stats this season, and this season alone, he's a very mediocre quarterback. And I understand, like, his resume speaks for itself when it comes to, Hall of Fame and stuff like that later on. But in terms of just this season, he is one of the reasons that Green Bay is not winning games. He's not the only reason. Not having a star receiver is obviously a big piece of it, but that's not the only reason. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is playing poorly. Like I said, taking sacks that he shouldn't be. Like, that's on him. I understand the O-line, lets him go. That's obviously not good. But whenever there's someone coming up on the side of you and you just don't see that, when they're, like, right here on the corner of your vision, you need to get out of the pocket and make a throw. At least throw it out of bounds or something and don't lose yards. But he's taking sacks when he shouldn't be. He seems like he just doesn't care anymore. And he got booed out of the stadium. I don't know if you guys saw that. He got booed after the loss. So, I don't even know what to say about Aaron Rodgers anymore. I'm just angry. He makes me angry. Makes me very emotional. I'm emotional about Aaron Rodgers because I care about you, Aaron. I care about you, so I'm emotional. And you're making me angry. But I'm going to move on before I get too angry. And we're going to go to a different NFC North quarterback in Justin Fields because this man, hey, hell of a performance. All right? Hell of a performance on Sunday. But you lost to my Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, no, that was the game script. I mean, all around, it was going to be a shootout. Unfortunately, Justin Fields got hurt at the end of the game, so now it's up in the air whether or not he's going to keep playing or whatnot, or if they're going to fill in for that. But I mean, dude, absolute shootout. Cordero Patterson, a phenomenal job, man. Hey, shout out to you. Another punt return tutty for you. That's I believe that's like his 7th or 8th. Or
I think it's his 9th. I think it's 9th that he has most all time. I think he has most all time. I don't know if he's tied. he's either definitively the first all time or he's tied with someone like Devin Hester for first all time. But I think he has 9 now because they showed that stat during the game. And I want to say something because I like this. I'm from Georgia, so I like the Falcons. Once again, not my favorite team, but I like the Falcons. If it's Falcons versus Bears, I'm rooting for Falcons every time because I like the Falcons a little bit and I hate the Bears. Bears are on the bottom of my list for teams. I hate the Bears. Justin Fields, I like you because you're cool, you're a good quarterback, but I hate the Bears. You're a horrible poverty franchise. I don't care if you were good in the 80s. That was 40 years ago. You're not good anymore. Anyway, Cordarrelle Patterson fumbled the ball the drive beforehand that allowed the Bears to get a touchdown. Then the next time the Bears get the ball, they have to punt it, and CP scores a touchdown on the return. So he fumbled the ball, and I was like, dang, he fumbled it. I hate you, Cordarrelle Patterson. You just lost us the game. And then he gets a touchdown. So I love when players do that. There was a game the Chiefs played. I think it was the Chiefs versus someone in the playoffs maybe 2 years ago. I think it was Michael Hardman fumbled the ball, and the other team recorded a touchdown off the fumble, and then they kick off the ball, and he gets a kick return touchdown from that. And so it's like I love when players like fumble the ball, make a big mistake, and then the next play they get the ball, they just boom, cross the field, touchdown, make up for it. Because I think that shows the players care. They take that stuff to heart whenever they make a big play and they give up some points or whatever. It hurts them. So they're like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a big play. And then they do it with a massive run for Cordarrelle Patterson and a massive touchdown. But yeah, like you were saying, Justin Fields got hurt. You could tell very late in that game. He was wincing every time he got up, every time he got hit, every time he was bracing himself before he went down. He was just not in it to play. The Bears probably would have won that if he was healthy all game. I'm not gonna BS you. They probably would have won that game. But you could tell he got hurt. He was throwing the ball with a hurt shoulder. He was taking hard hits going down. But I think what this says long term is that Justin Fields' gameplay the last 3 weeks is not sustainable because although he took a lot of hard hits that game, he's been taking hits the past few weeks, and it's just starting to stack up. You can't be getting hit like that every single week, 10 times a week, and expect to be okay. So I think that the gameplay... Go ahead.
Especially as the leading rusher when your running backs are doing absolutely nothing and the entire offense is on your back. You're absolutely right, Ethan. That's not sustainable. That's not something that Fields could keep up. His offensive line has not been fantastic, and his offense personnel has just been giving him absolutely no form of help. The top receiver was Montgomery with, I think, 54 yards, and then Justin Fields had, I believe, like 85 rushing yards himself and 150-some passing yards. So when the offense is entirely on you like that, Claypool has done nothing, Mooney has done nothing, neither Montgomery or their other running back have done anything to help Fields out. And so when you're starting jobs on the line like that, of course you're going to ball out because you want to show why you're worth keeping around, but there's only so much that you can do. As a mobile quarterback like that, I think we were talking about last week, mobile quarterbacks and how we each have different, views on them. And I said that I liked them a little bit more, but this is one big downside of, like, if you have a mobile quarterback like Justin Fields, like Jalen Hurts, like Tua, you have seen, I think, and Lamar Jackson, like you've seen them consistently be more prone to injuries than, someone like Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen or Tom Brady, or the people that have a little bit better pocket presence and can sit in there and just pass the ball well. And some of that's not Fields' fault because he does not have any threats as receivers, but then also they're playing a bunch from behind, right? So their defense has been absolutely atrocious, and I think their defense is really, we were also saying this last week, has lost them most of the games that they've lost because what was that stat?
They've scored 30 plus points in each of the last 3 weeks, except for the Falcons game. I think they scored 24 maybe?
27.
27?
Yeah, 24.
Yeah. So, except for and even that, 24 points is a lot of points to still be losing. So, they scored 24 points, and then the 3 previous weeks, 30-plus points, and they've lost every game. And I understand, like, I like Justin Fields. Like, I don't like the Bears as a franchise, but I love Justin Fields because he is a freaking winner. They lose every game, but he is a winner. He has a winner's mentality. He puts his body and his everything on the line every freaking play. And he understands, like, hey, We're not having good play calls. We don't have a good backfield. We don't have a good O-line. We don't have good receivers. The only way we're winning this is if I put the freaking team on my back and rush the ball for 200 yards, and he does it and scores a lot of points. And then the defense still gives up too much. I understand it, Justin Fields, that he's got to play like that, but the front office of the Bears needs to stop it, because if that's your future franchise quarterback, you cannot be letting him take as many hits as he is. He's not going to be playing next year if he keeps this up. I mean, it's like you were just saying, mobile quarterbacks are more prone to injury. That's one of the reasons that I personally don't... Like, I like mobile quarterbacks, it's fun to watch, but if I was starting my own NFL team, I wouldn't want one. Unless it's someone like Josh Allen who doesn't rush a ton, but they still can. Someone like Patrick Mahomes. But the mobile ones like Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, they're just so prone to injury because they rush more. They take a lot of big hits. It's the same reason running back careers are so short in the NFL. They take a lot of hits. The more hits you take, the shorter your lifespan is in the NFL. And when you got a franchise quarterback that you want to have for 20 years, like some of these guys like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, unless he gets hurt, that you guys are going to have on your team for 20 years, you don't want to let them get hurt by taking a bunch of hits. And so I think they need to stop this. They either need to just start losing games by a lot and let Justin Fields rest, or give him some help, because I understand you don't want to lose games. I respect it. I hate when teams tank, but you are letting your franchise quarterback get beat up for nothing. You guys are still losing every game, but you're letting him take ass whoopings week after week after week. And I just don't get it. The Bears front office needs to do something about that. The coaching staff, someone needs to do something about that, because he's not going to stop himself. He's a competitor, like I said. He's going to do what he can to win, but that's going to get dangerous because he's starting to hurt himself. I mean, even after like I was saying at the end, he played the last 5-10 minutes of that game hurt. You could tell every time he got the ball, every time he threw it, every time he got hit, he was wincing and getting up super slow, and he was still playing and still throwing the ball, still making big runs. So he's not going to stop himself. Someone needs to stop him. Someone who has the authority to needs to stop him from doing what he's doing, because he's going to end up shortening his career. And I think that's the last thing anyone wants to see.
Yeah, and another thing to think about, you have all these other skill players. Darnell Mooney, he's still Darnell Mooney. You have Chase Claypool, Equanimous St. Brown. The Bears front office really needs to find a way to try to elevate these players and get them to use more. Ebner stepped up a little bit for Khalil Herbert being out, and then Montgomery stepped in. You can still use your running backs. I get it. Justin Fields is probably faster, and then after everyone gets into coverage, there's more open lanes for him to go to. But you really need to utilize all your other skill players as well. You can't, because the minute you look at Justin Fields and look at Derrick Henry. Two completely different people. Derrick Henry could probably take the workload. Justin Fields doesn't look as robust as Henry does, and the Bears front office needs to find a way to kind of utilize all their other skill positions. I mean, you have Cole Kmet, who's an absolute stud of a tight end as well. I can't believe we haven't mentioned that nasty one-hander that he had in the game.
That was insane.
It was absolutely filthy. Yeah, nasty one-hander. Kmet, after that, he barely was used, even though he's Fields' favorite target. Darnell Mooney, absolute speedster. Claypool, I know he's new to the franchise, but you could still try to build, focus more on whenever you're in training camp, on working with these other receivers or trying to elevate their skills or see what they fit better into the scheme, rather than focus the entire scheme on a mobile quarterback, because really it's going to hurt their team in the end of it.
What they can do with Claypool is what they did with CMC when the Niners just traded for him. Give him some very basic routes that every wide receiver knows. You don't have to get him involved in some of these more diverse dynamics plays that he hasn't learned yet, but he can go run a go route or an out route or a quick slant across the middle or something, or a quick red zone slant, something like that. That's very basic. He doesn't need to be there for the playbook to know what that is. He knows what a slant is. He knows what a go route is, so he can do some of these things. Get him involved like that. Chase Claypool is a good deep threat. Throw the ball deep to him whenever he breaks dusts the defender, throw it deep to him. I think of Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's a speedster. He got a touchdown on Sunday, so at least he got that, but he's not really being utilized like he should be. Justin Fields, if he can get up to the point where he's throwing the ball for roughly 200 pass yards to 250 pass yards a game, and then he's rushing for another 80 to 100, that is chef's kiss perfect. That's what you need him to do. Run whenever he has his lanes, but not every freaking time. He needs to stay in the pocket and throw the ball some, and you guys need to help him. Bears front office, you need to make that happen, because right now he knows that the balls aren't going to be caught, and, I don't know if it's the bad plays that are being drawn up or if it's good defensive coverage. I don't really know, because the Falcons don't have a good secondary outside of A.J. Terrell, so I don't really know what that issue is, but something's an issue, and it needs to get fixed before they bust up their franchise quarterback too much. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Everyone knows what's going on with Fields. They just need to fix it. We'll probably talk about this next week whenever he breaks 4 ribs and is on IR for the rest of the season. But we're going to move on to the Rams because I have a picture of sad Sean McVay. You know, there's a lot of sad today. There's sad Aaron Rodgers. There's sad Zach Wilson. There's sad Sean McVay because the Rams are bums. The Rams suck. Matt Stafford, you're not good. I don't know if you two disagree with that. Matt Stafford, you're not good. You don't have Cooper Kupp, you're not good. Allen Robinson's still not getting targets. Tyler Higbee's not really getting that many targets. Your other receivers, Vaughn Jefferson, like, what are you doing? You don't need Cooper Kupp to be successful, Matt Stafford. I understand you don't have a backfield, but you got other targets. You got Allen Robinson, who's a great receiver. But the Rams are horrible. They're not going to make the playoffs, and they invested a lot of picks into their Matt Stafford acquisition, which, once again, like I said earlier, they won a Super Bowl from it, so at the end of the day, if they lose the next 10 seasons, they still won a Super Bowl. So, like, hey, good for you. That matters more than anything else, winning rings. But you guys could have repeated because you brought back a lot of people. You didn't bring back everyone. Obviously, the offensive line was different, but you brought back a lot of people. You still have Sean McVay, a genius at head coach, but Matt Stafford's not playing very well. I understand he was hurt last week. Did he get hurt this week? I wanted to mention that earlier. Is he hurt again or what?
Yeah, I believe they took him out of the game to check if he had a concussion or something of that sort. But yeah, no, Matt hasn't been playing too hot. Although I did like the touchdown over to Allen Robinson. Finally utilizing him. I mean, he's kind of forced to now that Kupp isn't around. And dude, that Rams defense, dude, what are they doing? They're not. Chris Olave just absolutely tore them to shreds. Where was Jalen Ramsey? Isn't Jalen Ramsey supposed to be some premier corner? Dude, he's nowhere to be found, dude. Olave had that all the way. It was a sad sight to see overall. Yeah. Kamara played his heart out. They couldn't get the run game established. Cam Akers, I would say, performed the best out of the 3. Kyron Williams is starting to work his way into everything after coming off of IR. Darrell Henderson is Darrell Henderson, but they can't get the ground game running. You have studs. Tyler Higbee's a stud. I mean, Van Jefferson's a good deep threat, and supposedly Matt Stafford, and so is Allen Robinson. And having those two guys as deep threats, you would think your arm would be Matt Stafford's arm is meant for deep threats, and that O-line isn't holding up. Matt Stafford isn't making good plays. He doesn't have Cooper Kupp to dump it off to and then get like 70 yards after the catch. I don't know what's up with the Rams at all, but hey, kudos to the Saints. Shout out to you guys. You guys played your hearts out.
I'm a big fan.
Big win, yeah.
Big fan of the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. I've always liked him. I've always thought that he's a good quarterback. It seems like I like a lot of mid-tier quarterbacks like Jared Goff, Andy Dalton, those types of guys. But I like them. I think that they're guys that don't get enough of respect. They're not, like I said, they're no Patrick Mahomes. All right, they're no Drew Brees or no Aaron Rodgers. They're not going to replace any of those guys. But they're good, serviceable quarterbacks. Andy Dalton has balled out on the Saints. Now, they've lost a lot of games, but they've also given up a lot of points. Same thing with like Justin Fields and the Bears. They've been playing well. Andy Dalton's been playing well. He has some turnover issues some of these games, but overall he's played very well. He played enough to beat the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champions of the world in the Rams, which, once again, the Rams just suck this year, but still. I think the Saints are doing very well. I think the Rams are bums. I like Andy Dalton. But yeah, that freaking Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, like you were saying, where the hell is Jalen Ramsey? Where's Aaron Donald getting sacks, putting all this pressure he needs to? I understand you can't rely on these two guys every play, but like that. I mean, Allen Robinson, you said he got a touchdown, but like still, he could. Whenever you lose Cooper Kupp, you can give those targets to Allen Robinson, and he can fill those shoes because a lot of those routes are very simple that Cooper Kupp usually runs, and it's just a matter of getting him into open space and throwing it, which is not hard to do with someone like Allen Robinson, who is a good a good wide receiver. I'm not saying he's as good as Cooper Kupp, but he's good enough to fill a lot of that, a lot of that targets there. And then you still got people like Tyler Higbee, who, by the way, I have on my fantasy team, Tyler Higbee. I'd love for you to get some targets, but it seems like that's not happening. And then Matt Stafford, I understand he's been battling injuries, which, once again, I can't really put much blame on someone when they're battling an injury because I don't know how much that affects them. But he's not played well this season. Even before his injuries, he wasn't playing well. So the Rams just pack it in and do better next year, man. Cooper Kupp's out for 8 weeks, so I don't know. The Rams are just in outer space this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that you can't really dog on the Rams any more than we already have, so I'm not going to. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Saints and what we've been seeing from them. I think Chris Olave, much in the same vein as another great Ohio State wide receiver for them, has just been really blossoming this season. 5 receptions for 100 yards. 105 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, you cannot do any better than that your rookie year. I think that he's an undervalued, offensive player. And I don't know who your guys's. Maybe we could do these our picks for offensive and defensive rookies of the year, but I think he's a sleeper pick for offensive rookie of the year just because of how he's been really sneakily good. And provided some life to a Saints offense that has, a battle going on at quarterback between Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston, neither of whom are very good. And I think that kind of shows you the importance also of just like your weapons and like, but more than just like the weapons, the mentality that they have, because what I'm seeing from LA is that they just don't really care. I think they got a little fat and lazy after, this Super Bowl win, and we're like, yeah, we've done our job, and came into this season thinking that it was going to be easy, and it has not been, obviously, and they have not been playing up to their potential. So I think that when you've got that dog in you, that mentality, that Chris Olave does, and I don't think you can ask for much more. And I think that is something that at least Allen Robinson and maybe Tyler Higbee could use on that offense. So
yeah, 100% agree. I think Chris Olave is my lock for offensive rookie of the year because you got to think, even if his stats aren't the best, which his stats are freaking phenomenal, who are you comparing him to? Drake London, who is one going into the season who has underperformed because Marcus Mariota doesn't target him. Breece Hall, who's gotten hurt. Dameon Pierce, who hasn't been relevant the past couple weeks. He's kind of fallen off a little bit. Dameon Pierce still early, so obviously he could come back and do something, but he's kind of fallen off. Chris Olave's been good all year. He's had a quarterback carousel with Jameis Winston and Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill intermittently on some plays. You have Michael Thomas, who was wide receiver 1 for 2 weeks, scoring massive points in fantasy for me the first 2 weeks, and then going out to having to step up into that wide receiver 1 role as a rookie. And then you have a new coach from Sean Payton, who's been there a long time. The fact that he's been through all the number of things that I just mentioned and more, and he's still performing like he is insane to me. I think Chris Olave has to be the offensive rookie of the year at this point. I don't know who competes. I mean, maybe I'm missing someone, but I don't know who competes for that role of offensive rookie of the year if it's not Chris Olave at this point.
George Pickens.
I mean, he had that good catch, but his
Yeah.
hey.
No, I take it back. I mean, if Pickens steps it up the remainder of the season, we might have some competition. I mean, Steelers might have a turnaround. You never know.
Kenneth Walker, I'm looking at odds right now. Kenneth Walker, Dameon Pierce, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, and Isaiah Pacheco are currently the top picks.
I think
so
Pacheco's.
I think Chris Olave is mine.
Yeah.
I don't think Pacheco's played enough, even if he balls out the rest of the season, which I hope he does because I got him on fantasy as one of my free river pickups. I don't think he's going to play enough to take that over. Same thing with Christian Watson. He didn't start balling out till recently. I don't think he has enough of the season to catch up, I guess, to Pierce and Olave. So I think it's probably between those two, and Pierce has slowed down a little bit, which I guess makes sense for running backs. But Olave's been pretty consistent, I feel like, with being very productive each week. But
I think Kenneth Walker could possibly be a sleeper, but yeah, my pick's Olave.
Yeah, I think Kenneth Walker. I think
pedigree.
Kenneth Walker is probably my second behind Olave, but I got Olave because I know him and I like Olave, and whatever. Seahawks, you guys can step aside. You're just there until the Niners decide to pass you up in the NFC West. But we're gonna go and get into our picks for this week because that's about all the major stories we have. So we're gonna go and get to our picks. But before we do that, I'm going to recap over last week's picks, and you guys are going to sit here and take the abuse that I'm going to give you. I am currently winning. I got 8 games accurate last week. Gian got 7, so Gion's only one behind me. And Frank, you got 2. You accurately predicted 2 spreads last week, Frank. Now, I'll make some clarifications because although 8 wins is still positive, it's not by much. I went 8-5. 2 things. One, we forgot to pick the Commanders game. I don't know if you guys noticed that. We forgot to pick the Commanders game, so we didn't get that one wrong. We forgot to pick that one, so I'm 8-5. Gian is 7-6, and Frank is 2-11. We forgot one of the games. Our bad. We will not do it again. And then I think we all picked Green Bay whenever Malik Willis was supposed to be the starter, and then Tannehill was starter. And so when Malik Willis plays, they don't let him pass, so it's just a running game, which obviously Derrick Henry's a beast, but all they have to do is predict a run every play. So I think that if Malik Willis had played, Green Bay would have won by 3, but not going to defend it. We made the bad picks. But anyway, I wanted to make that clarification. So I'm in the lead with 8 wins, Gian with 7, and then Frank with 2. You got some catching up to do. Also, if/when I win, what do you want, Gian?
Carolina pick, man, that was... I can't believe it.
Yeah, I picked Carolina plus 12 because, hey, guess what I said? That's too many points, and I was right. You guys are bums. Yeah. Anyway, when I win, you guys are buying me a Jimmy Garoppolo jersey because although I'm not my quarterback, not my team, he won me last week's fantasy, and in my head, I was like, hey, Jimmy G, if you score 25 points tonight, I'm going to get a Jimmy G jersey. I didn't say I was going to buy it. I said I was going to get one, and that's going to be from you two motherfuckers whenever I win. So you're buying me a Jimmy G jersey. Unless I change my mind, which I probably will. Anyway, we're going to go and get into this week's games. Bills at Lions. So it's a home game for the Lions. Lions plus 9, Bills minus 9. What do you guys got?
I'm going with the Bills.
Bills minus 9? All right, what about you, Frank?
Yeah. I know Lions are home, but gotta be Bills.
All right.
What did they do? I don't know, man. They didn't do that against the Browns. I know that this is obviously the Lions' home field advantage. The Lions have been playing well. I do not think that the Bills are going to cover, so I'll take.
You got Lions plus 9.
The Lions, yeah.
I'm honestly, I don't know. The Lions are hot right now. The Bills are bums right now. It's home for the Lions, but 9 points I feel like is not enough. I understand big spreads are like, all right, you take the plus, not the minus on big spreads, but with the Bills Lions, that feels like it should be like a plus 12, you know. But I don't know. I feel like 9 is right there at the line of what they might win by. I'm gonna go Lions plus 9. I like MCDC. Home game. Probably gonna regret this pick, but I'm going Lions plus 9. Next game, Giants at Cowboys. Cowboys minus 9, Giants plus 9. So same number, but it's now Cowboys for Giants. What are you guys thinking?
Jenga.
If Micah Parsons is healthy for this match, I got Cowboys the whole way.
You're taking Cowboys minus 9?
Yeah, I mean, Giants ain't got no one to defend with, and they got no receivers. They just got Saquon. It's got to be the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Look at Micah Parsons. DeMarcus Lawrence is also questionable.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Anthony Barr.
Yeah, I'm picking Dallas minus 9 because it's also a home game for Dallas. So even if Parsons doesn't play, I mean, Giants cannot beat Dallas at home after their big upset, and the Dallas is hot right now. I think it's Cowboys minus 9. Yeah,
I'll take the Cowboys too.
Awesome. All right, next game is, let's see, Patriots at Vikings. Vikings are favored to win by 3 points.
I'll take the Vikings all day. I think this is a revenge game for them, though the Patriots always play well if they're playing on Thanksgiving. But I think that Justin Jefferson, maybe this is wishful thinking, but I think that he comes back and has another 30-point game because God knows I need it. So,
yeah, I'm taking Vikings minus 3. After last week's loss, I feel like they have to make something happen here and get a big win. So I got Vikings minus 3. it's a tight spread, which I like. So I feel like they have to win by a field goal or more. So I'm taking the Vikings -3 for sure.
I don't like this spread at all. I'm going to pick the Vikings. I don't like it at all. Simply because that defensive line by the Patriots is just so good, and we all saw what a defensive line did to Kirk Cousins last week. But Vikings need to come back. They need to get reassembled and get their crap together. So, yep, Vikings all the way. Let's see what they do this week. It's going to be a tight game for sure. But I just can't see Patriots offense getting off too well. Well, maybe the running game, but
Yeah.
Vikings.
All right, let's go Broncos at Panthers. Broncos -2.5, Panthers +2.5. Very tight spread. What do you guys think? That feels wrong to only be 2.5 points, but I guess both teams suck.
Sam Darnold is playing. Yeah, both teams do. Just absolutely stink. They are hot garbage. I don't see Sam Darnold really doing anything better than what PJ Walker or Baker Mayfield have done this year. But that being said, I really don't see the Broncos doing too much better either. I made a mistake by picking the Broncos this last week, so I'm gonna go with the Panthers.
Yeah, I feel like the Panthers is a safer play here just because they're favored to lose. So, they could lose by a point and your thing still hits. But I'm going Denver -2.5. Broncos country. Let's ride. What about you, Gian?
I will not be doing that saying, but Broncos, Pat Surtain's playing. He's healthy. Latavius Murray took the starting job from Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's not going to be around anymore to fumble. I think they're starting to get into high gear. Nope, take that back. They're definitely not getting into high gear, but it's the Panthers. Panthers don't have really good running game. They don't have really good receivers other than DJ Moore. But I mean, Sam Darnold, DJ Moore, it's Sam Darnold. It's chicken feet Darnold. He isn't gonna get anything done there. Broncos defense is just too good. I got the Broncos on this one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving over to Tampa versus the Browns. Tampa is favored to win by 3 points. Browns +3. I got Bucks -3. That's easy. I think the Bucks are back enough to make the playoffs and win the NFC South and beat the Browns. So they're coming off a bye, aren't they, as well?
The Bucks are, yeah.
Yeah. The Browns.
It's in Cleveland though. So I don't know how well those Tampa Bay boys do with the Cleveland weather.
That's true.
But it's going to be cold. That's not. I mean, Tom Brady is used to that. Played in Foxborough for a while. Had some cold games there as well. I don't know, Gian. What are you thinking?
It's interesting you bring the weather into this. Being from Florida myself, when you transition, which I just recently came back up north, from being in Florida for so long, it is a shock. So, I mean, obviously they're prepared for this kind of thing, but weather does play a factor. Browns have a solid run game, but the Bucks have a solid run defense. It's really, it all comes down to, can Jacoby Brissett pull off a couple of nice passes to Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, Amari Cooper, to try to make this game competitive. I'm gonna go with Tampa on this one.
I think the Browns.
I
think the Browns need to try and keep Brady off the field. I think if Brissett just keeps the turnovers low and runs clock, that's what their play should be. I think if you get Brady on the field, you get him hot, you get the Bucks offense rolling, that's what loses you the game. So I think it's up to Brissett to keep turnovers low, not throw any interceptions, and give the Bucks more time than the Browns have. But I think the Bucks are still going to win. Yeah, I got Bucks -3, just like you. I think that's the Browns.
Give me the Browns. I'm switching over to the Browns.
All right.
Tom Brady just lost a crap ton of money After that one crypto thing just went out.
His
So,
wife-
So you know what? Give me the
Brady's
Browns.
wife
He's got other
cheated
things
on
his
him.
mind.
Brady's wife cheated on him. I got Tom Brady.
I'll take the Browns as well.
Good.
I'm an Ohio guy. I gotta take.
I'm
the
glad
Ohio
you guys
team.
disagree. That's my chance to get ahead on this week's picks. I like it. Thank you, boys. Ravens at Jaguars. Ravens are favored to win by 4 points. The hell line is that? Ravens -4. The Jaguars suck.
Yeah, I'd got Ravens all day.
Who's the home team?
Jaguars.
Morris. Okay, give me the Jags.
Oh,
It's party time, baby.
good. Thank
Press
you,
that
Gian.
party
I'm not even going to give an
It's time to
analysis.
it's time to lock down the bank. Jaguars all the way.
No analysis.
Um,
The Jaguars are getting they're getting curb stomped. Anyway, moving on. Texans at Dolphins. Do you even want to hear the spread before you pick the Dolphins, Gian?
No spread needed. Dolphins are winning alt-right, money line, everything. Just everything.
Okay, the spread
Um,
is -13. It is 2 touchdowns. They need to win by 2 touchdowns to get this spread.
Give me the Fins.
All right, what about you, Frank?
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna take the Fins too. I don't think that Houston has been doing enough to. Although that is a big spread, and I got burned last week whenever I picked against that. But
Oh wait,
I'm gonna pick-
actually,
Ooh, hold
13
on.
is.
13 is a
Oh,
lot
if
of
we look
points,
at- if
ain't
we
it?
actually- I might take this back only
I'm gonna
because
I'll take Houston. I'll take Houston.
Oh,
I take it back. So
Houston.
we got Gian with his home team. I picked my home team. Is Gian gonna be picking his home team, or is he?
I don't know, man. I mean, if you look at the Dolphins' last couple games, let's take a look here. Dolphins. Let's see where they at. Where are my Fins at? So it's Dolphins, Houston. Dolphins last several games. They've been pretty close. Lions and Bears, 32, 27 points. Steelers within 6. Vikings within 8. 13 is a lot of points on the board.
Hey,
They blew
last
the Browns
week
out of the water.
you guys picked the
Yeah.
Ravens -12, and I said that's too many points, and I beat your asses for it.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. Give me the Fins.
All right.
That's right. That's right. We're blowing them out. We're blowing them out. Houston doesn't stand a chance at all. Houston is not going to score. They couldn't score against the Commanders. All right, we're talking about the Commanders. Give me the Fins.
Yeah, I'm taking the
Houston
Fins
is
too.
Not a team.
Yeah, I got the Fins. I mean, I love Tua. I just wanted to make you guys pick the Texans, and my bait worked for one of
gonna
you.
take I'm gonna take the Fins. I switched
No,
my pick.
no, Frank.
Yes. No. Rewind.
All right.
I'm taking that big back.
Here's the thing. I am writing this in pen, and I've already scratched out your answer twice to change it. Final decision right now, Frank. Fins or Texans?
Fins.
Okay, you're taking the Fins. So we just got straight Fins across the board.
A little more confidence. Fins are taking this baby.
It's a lot of points, but yeah, I can't bet on the freaking Texans, dude. They suck, and Tua's a freaking monster. Anyway,
Here's the thing. Week to rest. Tyreek's had a couple of ice baths. Got to chill out at the beach for the week. Tyreek is all perked up now. He's
oh
he's
yeah,
gonna
no,
take
Tyreek's
off. You
gonna
already
get.
know.
Let's
You
say.
mean that literally or figuratively?
All right, here's my lockdown
He's
bet.
not perked up.
All right, here's my lockdown bet for this weekend. Tyreek Hill has 500 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. That's my lock-in bet for this weekend.
We need to do a whole segment of just lock-in bets with Ethan.
Yeah,
where you
Tyreek Hill,
really
1,000
accurate.
receiving yards, 1,000 passing yards for Tua, and 1,000 rush yards for Jeff Wilson. That's my lock-in bet for this week. Parlay it and make yourself that thick bag. Moving on, Bears at Jets. Jets are favored -4.5. Bears +4.5. Justin Fields injured, but Zach Wilson's a bum. What are you doing here?
I don't know that they'll be starting Zach Wilson, so I'm gonna.
Or
say
Justin Fields, that's the
another
thing.
Wishful thinking.
I mean, I guess they're
Yeah,
going to start
I'm
Zach
gonna
Wilson,
go
but
with-
he's a bum, you know?
Yeah, if they do start him, I don't know. I think they bounce back this week. I think Garrett Wilson takes the offense on his back, and I think James Robinson might be doing a little better this week than he did last week. So another wishful thinking bet, but I'll take the Jets +4
The Jets -4.
or -4.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm doing the same thing. It's just -4.5. I'm taking them. I feel like the Bears just suck, and Justin Fields is hurt. They got nothing. The Jets have good quarterback depth. They got Joe Flacco in there, who is disgusting with that football. So if Zach Wilson gets benched or whatever, I think they're still going to be fine. So I'm taking Jets -4.5. That's easy for me.
What's your lock-in pick with Joe Flacco?
My lock-in
going
pick for Joe Flacco is that he's going to have. Let me do some quick math. He will have 4 touchdowns in the last 2 minutes of the game. 4 passing touchdowns, I should say, in the last 2 minutes of the game. That's my lock-in bet for the Jets game. Joe Flacco. Pencil that in.
You heard it here first.
Parlay it with anything. Parlay. Do parlay. Parlay is good. Anyway, Gian, what's your pick? Jets, Bears.
I gotta go with the Jets because, like you said, they do have some quarterback depth. I just had to look up who the backup is for the Bears because they do not have any depth whatsoever. Trevor Siemian, barely know him, barely seen him. Yeah, the Jets defense is too good. It's all Jets. Jets, Jets.
Yep.
Shout out to my man Joe again.
All right, let's go.
Trevor Siemian was playing future in the locker room in Denver, and they were playing well for him last year, so he might do the same thing.
Trevor
in
Siemian
Chicago.
is gross. Moving on, Tennessee versus Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burr, Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool,
Shiesty.
Joey Ice, Money Man, Joe Burrow. Joe is good at football. Burrow. Cincinnati -1.5. Tennessee +1.5. So basically, who wins? Because it's a 1.5 point spread.
Cincinnati, I think. I don't see Tennessee beating Cincinnati this week unless Cincinnati has a injury that I don't know about.
Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase are questionable.
Yeah, Joe Mixon is out.
But we saw what they could do even without Joe Mixon. Samaje Perine had a phenomenal game. Let's
yeah.
take a look here.
I'm picking Bengals
I'm going to take the
-1.5.
Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals. I don't see any reason not to. Their defense is still good enough to stop.
And you got Joe Burrow, who's a
Tannehill.
monster. They still got Tyler Boyd, T.
Yeah.
Higgins. I mean, you still got studs on that offense without them.
Mhm.
What about you, Gian?
Yeah,
You
no,
taking
yeah.
Bengals or Tennessee?
If the Bengals O-line can hold up, I like the Bengals defense better. I like their O-line better. I like their quarterback better. Give me the Bengals. Bengals. What is it? +1.5.
-1.5.
-1.5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals.
Yeah. All right. Falcons at Commanders.
It looks like Jamar Chase might come back.
Oh, yeah. If Jamar
sorry,
Chase is
what?
back. If Jamar Chase is back, then yeah. I mean, even without him, I think they're going to win. But yeah. Moving on. Falcons at Commanders. Commanders are favored to win by 4. Atlanta +4. What are you guys doing here?
Taylor Heineke keeps his starting spot this week, and Chase Young comes back. So I think I got the Commanders.
Yeah, same here. I mean, now that Kyle Pitts is on IR, which I can't believe we didn't talk about that. Pitts
Yeah.
is, I think, he's done for the season. That's one less offensive threat that they have to worry about. So give me the Commanders.
Yeah.
I mean, Heineke's playing his ass off, and they have fairly decent receivers. I mean, you have Jahan Dotson there, you have Scary Terry, and then you have an okay running group. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm taking Commanders. It pains me to say it, but with Kyle Pitts being out, thing is, here's the thing. I watch every single Falcons game. The Falcons have 3 starting running backs playing for their team: Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley, and Cordero Patterson. Every time they get the ball, they get 4+ yards. So That is great. If you're averaging over 4 or 5 yards a carry every time you touch that freaking ball, you are a great running back. The problem is they don't run the ball very much. They'll run it twice, get 3rd and 1, and then, let's let Marcus Mariota pass it to someone who is not going to catch the ball. And it's never Pitts. It's never Drake London. It's always some bum that you don't even know, and they lose. So I am picking Washington because now they have even less people to throw it to, and they're probably still going to try and throw it because Artie Smith is stupid, and I hate him because he won't run the ball. But if they do that, they win. But I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I'm taking Washington -4.
What's your lock and pick with Washington?
Taylor Heineke will at least score a touchdown this game. Whether it's rushing, passing, or receiving, he'll do something. I'm telling you that. He'll throw the ball at least once that game. That's my bet. He'll have a 1+ pass attempt. Anyway, next game is Chargers at Cardinals. The Chargers are favored -4.5. LA Chargers -4.5. Arizona Cardinals +4.5. I got Chargers -4.5. That's easy for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing. I think the Chargers win by 5.
I actually think the Cardinals are going to win this one.
They got Colt McCoy. McCoy.
Kyler, that's right.
Is Kyler not playing?
Coming back?
I thought he was.
He's not coming back until after.
Yesterday.
Nope. Kyler, what's his name? Their head coach, whose name is escaping me at this point, said that Kyler might not be back. Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury said that he might not be. And, I mean, this has been the case with Cliff whenever he talks about people that have sustained big injuries. They'll say they're, like, day-to-day questionable, and they'll come back, like, 5 weeks later. So they are not going to have him. They're not going to have Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown.
That feels like it should be a bigger spread. I know the Chargers' record is deceivingly bad, but they're a good team. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both back.
Yeah, exactly.
Mikey Mike is actually hurt. He tweaked his ankle mid-game over the weekend, so he might be out. He's questionable. He might come back. I don't see him doing too much, but you still got to have DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer who are still filling in. Gerald Everett is still out as well, but then you have Eckler and Isaiah Spiller. But I mean, the thing is, with the Chargers, they're just riddled with defenses. They're on their 3rd string O-line, 3rd string defense, essentially. But Colt McCoy is playing. That's if Kyler comes back, I got Arizona. Although it's kind of funny that his hamstring injury aligns when Call of Duty's out and whatnot. So I mean, hey, I love Call of Duty too. That being said,
you're picking the Chargers.
You know what? I don't want to, but I have to if Colt McCoy is playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I think that should be a bigger spread if Kyler's not playing. I feel like if Kyler's playing, 4.5 is a good spread. If he's not playing, I feel like it should be like 9 points. But
it's just that their defense is non-existent, essentially.
Yeah.
Man. I mean,
that's what I mean. Like, if you have Colt McCoy, he's not going to move the ball as effectively. Like, I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. Raiders at Seahawks. The Seahawks are favored to win by 3.5 points. Las Vegas +3.5. Seahawks are coming off a bye, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Seahawks just came off.
Seahawks -3. Las Vegas sucks this year. In Seattle, Geno Smith's balling out. Even though I don't really like what I see with the Seahawks. I think they're gonna fall from the number 1 NFC West. They're not gonna lose to the Raiders, so I'm taking Seahawks -3.5. It's just such a tight spread for some reason.
It's 3.5. See, I could see them winning by a field goal, but I don't know if I see them winning by 4 or more points.
What are they playing?
They're playing in Seattle.
I'll take the Seahawks then. You can't really bet against them with that. I think Kenneth Walker.
Did they give you the Raiders?
I'm actually going. Give me the Raiders. I like this. I like this game. This game smells like a trap. It is the Raiders all day.
It feels like they want you to bet the Raiders with the spread. It feels like they want you to because it's such a tight spread. It feels like they're like, you know what? Go ahead and bet the Raiders. But you're picking the Seahawks, right, Frank?
No, I am going to take the Raiders as well because.
Yep. I'll go ahead and scratch out the Seahawks -3 that I wrote next to your name. No, it's good. It's all good. So yeah,
Yeah,
Raiders.
no,
So I'm the only one picking Seahawks minus 3.5. Okay. Anyway, moving on to my favorite spread, of the weekend slate of games. You know how I say it's too many points sometimes. You know, like that's my
Yeah.
thing when it comes to spreads. It's like, hey, that's too many points. Kansas City versus the Rams in Kansas. The spread is Kansas City minus 14.5.
Take Kansas City on that.
Minus 14.5. That is over 2 touchdowns. You have to score
Yeah,
more
but-
than 2 touchdowns more than the Rams. That is a massive spread. That is huge.
Yeah, I'm taking them.
I don't
We
know.
just have to done an entire segment dogging on how horrendous and just absolutely dumpster fire-esque the Rams have been. How their defense has done absolutely nothing. How they just lost a game that they should have won against the Saints. They they lost that game by 2 touchdowns, right?
Well, here's the thing.
They lost it by 1.
The thing you got to
1
think about with
touchdown.
this is if the Chiefs get up by like 13 or 14 points and they just start running the ball instead of making passes and actually going for touchdowns, they just start running out the clock, then you lose because they win by 14 points and not 14.5. That's my thing. I think the Chiefs destroy the Rams, but I think they might get up by like 14 points and just start running the ball. And maybe they score a touchdown, maybe they kick a field goal, but maybe they don't. Maybe the Rams kick a field goal and make it a 10-point lead or something. I just think it's like whenever you are ahead by that many points, you don't make big plays and throw risky passes anymore. You run the ball and run out clock so you win. And I feel like at 14.5 points, that's at the range where you start just running the ball and hoping that the clock runs out and you just win. You don't go for any more big plays. That's my fear with that. I have no doubt if it was just an all-out play by the Kansas City Chiefs and the Rams, then the Chiefs win by fucking 50. But it's not. They're going to play smart and start running the ball and running out clock when they get up by that much. And if the Rams just kick a late field goal and they only win by 10 points or 13 or 14, then the spread doesn't cover. And that's my thing. That's what that's what I don't know
I
about.
get ahead of you guys somehow. I made absolutely dumpster fire picks last week, so either they continue or unless you guys are picking the Chiefs, in which case I won't. But
What are you
Yeah,
doing?
so-
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking, man, because Chiefs got a good pass rush.
Well, here's my
Stafford
thing.
isn't Stafford. He doesn't have anyone to pass to. They have an running game. But tell me what you think, Ethan.
I mean, man, it's like the Chiefs, man. Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. They have been for years now. I don't care if they haven't won every Super Bowl. They are the best team in the NFL. Man,
Rams. Give me the Rams. 14 is too many points. Give me the Rams. The Rams have not lost a game by more than double digits, I don't believe. Give me the Rams. It's too early to be doing this with the Rams. Yeah, give me the Rams.
man. I don't know. I hate this spread. I hate it. Man, I don't know. God. That's
Actually,
too many
no, they
points.
did lose. They did. The Rams did lose to by 2 touchdowns, but that was to the 40 by over 2 touchdowns, but that was by the 49ers.
who has the better offense, the 49ers or the
Chiefs.
Chiefs?
Chiefs have a better offense. They got
yeah,
Patrick. They got Patrick
same, man.
Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
49ers is a better I think. Nope, 49ers for me, especially now with all the weapons.
You can look at their passing yards, passing touchdowns, rushing stats, anything. The Chiefs beat them. I think that they have more better positions. Like I think that Niners have the better wide receiver one in Deebo Samuel. I think they have better running back with Christian McCaffrey. But Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce negate all that, especially when they have a good rapport with Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, Isaiah Pacheco, who's been actually pretty good the past few weeks. You got Andy Reid coaching. I think that the Chiefs are way more effective on the offense than the Niners. On paper, the 49ers sound better. They don't score as much.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't score as much, but I still feel like the 49ers are a better offense. You got Kyle Shanahan there.
He's
He's
not as good
turned
as Andy
Jimmy
Reid.
Garoppolo into a decent quarterback.
Kyle Shanahan is nowhere
Jimmy
near it.
Garoppolo was
Andy Reid
I
is
don't know.
is Andy Reid is leagues above Kyle Shanahan. Leagues. They're not even in the same
I'd say
ballpark.
they're both in the same
Kyle
league,
Shanahan
but
was the best coach.
that's just me. That's just me.
Kyle Shanahan was the best guy in the league right after the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. Then he was a good coach. He was bad or anything, but he is not as good as Andy Reid. Andy Reid has a different playbook for every single game, and it works every single time. Andy Reid is a genius.
Not only that, he has a
Well,
different way of like accentuating the strengths of a different offensive player each game. With obviously Kelsey's his and Mahomes are his consistent, but he'll just spread the ball to numerous different receivers. I mean, this week, like they didn't have Juju, they didn't have who did they not? Some other people, and they did a decent job with getting Kelsey the ball. And 2 weeks ago, it was I think Scantling and Pacheco. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I'm picking, as much as I'm defending the Chiefs right now, I'm picking the Rams because that's just too many points. 14 and a half freaking points is too many. That's like a college game spread. It's Rams plus 14 and a half. Oh, what about you, Frank? Are you picking the Chiefs since we both picked the Rams? Okay. Kansas City minus 14.5. All right, moving on after that. All right, on to the Niners game. Good for us. San Francisco versus New Orleans. Niners minus 9, New Orleans plus 9. I am picking the Niners minus 9.
I'm gonna take New Orleans. I don't think the Niners cover that spread.
wait, what?
What are you
So
picking,
you don't
Gian?
think? Let me think.
I think Chris Olave goes off again. I think he has another. I think he has 2
Gian,
touchdowns. this
you just
game.
said the Niners are a better offense than the Chiefs.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I know.
if you don't pick them, then
Hey, teams go offense and defense, and I kind of. But here's the thing, um, the Saints don't really have anyone else to throw to other than Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave. Olave's been a great rookie. This game, the Niners defense is going to stop them. Give me the Niners. Niners 9 points sounds pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the Niners.
All right.
Kyle Shanahan is a tactical genius, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kyle Shanahan's a good coach. He's not as good as Andy Reid, but he's a good coach. Packers at Eagles. Eagles minus 7. That feels like a very low spread to be at home against the bum Aaron Rodgers Packers. Green Bay plus 7. Philadelphia minus 7. I feel like that's easy.
Give me Green Bay on this one. We saw last week with the Colts game what Dallas Goedert meant to the team, especially with blocking for run plays or being that like fourth guy out there. The other backup tight ends, too many penalties. They weren't as effective as Goddard has been. And then obviously we still have AJ Brown dealing with an injury. Packers aren't the best, but I could totally see them keeping the game close. Aaron Rodgers is probably pretty upset with himself.
Yeah,
At least I'm hoping so because he was atrocious last week. So yeah,
I'm gonna
you know what?
pick-
Give me the Packers on this one.
I'm going to do the same thing because I forgot that A.J. Brown was hurt. I knew Dallas Goddard was, and I was like, yeah, but they still got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown's hurt. I got to go Green Bay plus 7. This is your last chance, Aaron Rodgers, to not let me down. Aaron, Green Bay plus 7. What about you, Frank?
I'm gonna take Green Bay as well. I
Okay.
don't see. Yeah, I just don't.
This is
see-
week 2 of all of us picking Green Bay, and we're all going to lose. Moving on. Monday night, Steelers at Colts. Colts are favored to win by 2.5. Pittsburgh plus 2, and it's in Indianapolis, so I got Colts minus 2.
I'll take the Colts. Yeah, I'll take the Colts. I think they win
me the
by field goal
Steelers.
easily.
Give me the Steelers.
All right. Your
I just-
What?
You heard it here. Gian is not a believer in Jeff Saturday. He doesn't think Jeff Saturday can do his job.
Jeff Saturday.
Oh, here's
Don't
the
get me
thing, though.
wrong.
I'm gonna argue against myself. I'm still picking the Colts because I love the Colts. Anyway, the thing with Pittsburgh is that Mike Tomlin has never had a negative season, ever. Ever.
Yeah.
And he's gotta start winning some games to keep that up. But they also suck this year, so yeah, I'm picking Colts.
So
All right.
what's the spread?
2.5.
2.5, yeah.
Colts to
Ooh.
win. It's tight.
Give me the Steelers.
Okay, cool. So that's all for this week. We have done all of them this week. I made sure we have done all these things. So there we go. That about wraps it up. An hour and a half today. Good stuff, boys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, everyone, for tuning in. Come back next week for us to do the same thing again. We're going to talk about the big games, give our picks.
Like
Maybe
and subscribe.
like and subscribe, yep. And you will see me obliterate, win every single prediction this week, and just destroy Gian and Frank. But until then,
Yeah.
have a safe rest of your week. Same thing to you boys. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Yeah,
hey,
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy football
Yeah.
Thursday. Have some turkey, have some stuffing. Enjoy the time with your guys' families.
for
So,
sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Happy
man.
Thanksgiving to everyone.
Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Stay frosty. Take it easy, y'all.